What's up, guys? We are back with another Star Wars Black Series review, taking a look at the kind of odd exclusive out in this first wave. We're taking a look at the carbonized First Order Jet Trooper, the only exclusive carbonized figure that doesn't have a mainline counterpart yet. He's coming later, so he kind of sticks out. And he definitely sticks out because of this package. So, of course, being a carbonized figure, it's got a motif that is similar to the figure itself. So you've kind of got this pearly white packaging here, but it's the same thing that we saw with the Mandalorian. So you've got your figure in the window, you've got the carbonite call out, and then you've got your artwork down there on the side. He, of course, has a number since he is in the main line as well, and he is number 99, and you've also got that artwork on the back side as well as a small write-up on this particular type of trooper. So let's do it. Let's pull this guy out and take a look. And here he is out of the package, our Walmart exclusive carbonized Jet Trooper. So, you know, the odd man out in terms of the carbonized figures because he has no regular counterpart yet. And yeah, this is an interesting figure. There's some new stuff going on here. Of course, it's an entirely new trooper, so we've got a new helmet to discuss, and it's just kind of an interesting figure from a number of standpoints. So let's jump right in, take a look, and see how this guy moves around. He is kind of par for the course, but of course, we do have a little bit of updated articulation with these new troopers lately. So the head can look really far up, and that's aided by the fact that the neck is actually articulated here, so it can move around independent on its own. The head can look down really far. You've got some serious tilt action and then full rotation. The arms go out. They don't go full 90 degrees though. They're close, but not exact. You can rotate at the shoulder. He does not have a bicep swivel, but he's got a rotating elbow, and he's got that new elbow articulation, so you have really, really easy movement there. Works really nicely. You've got a hinge, a lateral hinge on his left hand, rotation, and then you've got a vertical hinge on the right, which works really nicely. I'm a big fan of the change up on that. He's got the diaphragm cut here, so he goes tilt side to side, backwards and forwards. I thought that this armor piece was what was really getting in the way, but it's actually just the cut in the armor. This piece really doesn't impede articulation at all because this thing here is kind of like a bib that sits over top of the figure. It's not actually part of the armor itself. The legs go out about that far. They kick forward all the way. They kick backwards a pretty good bit as well. You've got a thigh cut in there. We've of course got double jointed knees, and then you've got your rocker and you've got hinge down at those ankles. So he does move, you know, pretty much how you would expect a trooper to move, but he does have those updated elbows, and then of course he has the more updated style head and neck articulation that we have been seeing with increased frequency, and it really does help this guy, especially because he's a jet trooper, he's got a jetpack. It'll help him to kind of look forward if you've got him in any kind of flying pose. Now, of course, this guy is a new figure, a new type of trooper, so there's some stuff to discuss on this one, but it's also the carbonized figure, so we have to kind of talk about the finish in general on this guy, and unfortunately we don't have the regular figure to look at, so I would assume that that guy's going to be much more of a regular white type of trooper, and this figure really is not. He is very creamy, kind of like an off-white, almost beige in some ways. He's not really stark white at all, and then he's got that kind of baked-in metallic pearlescent look, so everything on this guy has a luster to it, kind of like an overspray of metallic accents that, for my money, I think is nice. I'm not sure it's really worth the $5 premium, but it does look cool, and if you have kind of a squad of these guys, then this one could maybe be the leader or the front man, just to make him kind of a little bit different. But he is a lot of just kind of standard trooper looking design. You've even got the Telltale First Order you know, gun mount here on his thigh pad here. So you've got that. Most of the stuff is pretty similar to what you would expect to see to a First Order Trooper, but there's a little bit more angular design to it, similar to what the Sith Trooper has, like with these stripes that run down the knees. You've got asymmetrical knees again, and then you've got you know, you've got little bits of detail in terms of paint applications, like the lines on the arms, the little sockets in here that are painted, stuff like that. You've got a lot of line work in the chest as well. A lot of this is maybe not something you would see right away with this little bib that he's got here, and it's a little flexible piece, so you can see that there's actually a lot of sculpt work underneath of that, which makes me wonder what this body might be used for. beyond that, because it's not the same as a Sith Trooper either. It's a different underbody. So this piece here is kind of flexible plastic, and it connects back into the backpack on here, which is kind of cool. This is definitely a brand new design. It's very small and kind of compact, very minimalist. Interesting color choices too, considering this is the First Order. So you've got reds and blues specifically on these thrusters here, and then you've got like the vents up here that are a metallic blue as well. So I think the like kind of pearlized aspect of this figure works really nicely when it comes to some of these extra details, especially on the backpack. It kind of makes him, it just kind of makes him pop a little bit more. So he's very, very standard as far as just like what you would expect to get out of a trooper, but at the same time he is very, very different. There's nothing too flashy or fancy about him. He looks like, for all intents and purposes, a regular type of trooper that just happens to be having this backpack on, and I think it looks really kind of good, honestly. It's really minimal. There's just not a great deal that's setting him apart, except for, again, and I keep calling it a bib, but it's just what kind of looks like. It's even flexible. You can see it kind of bends and it will peg into his chest here. Probably should stop doing that. But you've got some markings here. You've got a little insignia up there, and the tampos on this guy are pretty nice too. So I don't really have any issues with the way he's built or designed. I think the pearl aspect of the figure works really nicely, just, you know, to set him apart from your other figures, if and when we can get more. And it may not be worth the premium, because it's still $5, but it does look pretty cool. I'm always a fan of metallic figures. But then, of course, the big thing on this guy outside of the jetpack is this head sculpt, because we've never seen anything like this before. And this might be where my interest in this figure, in this trooper type, kind of wanes a little bit. I have to see the movie to see these guys in action to really appreciate what's going on here. But this helmet design, it's just not really doing it for me, honestly. I think the figure in general, just from an aesthetic perspective, looks fine, it looks good, and if this is how the trooper looks, then this is how the trooper looks. But something about this helmet design is just, it's not clicking for me. There is a pretty minimalist design going on here. I'm getting a very First Order Stormtrooper look and feel when it comes to that singular eye line that's up here, rather than actual lenses for the eyes. And there's just not a lot of paint on it. There's just the black embellishments there. What's really throwing me off are these little like mandible pieces that are on the face. I don't really know what's going on there. So of course, I have no idea why it looks like this, or what it's supposed to do, or if it does anything, or if it even will do anything in the movie. But it looks fine from a toy perspective, from a construction perspective. Sculpt is good, paint is clean and crisp. I just don't know that I really care about the way this helmet looks, personally. Now, as far as accessories goes, this guy just comes with the one weapon here. So you've got the kind of blaster rifle. This guy's obviously new. We've never seen anything like this before. So you've got very, very, you know, Stormtrooper, First Order style of weapon here. There is a, you know, a stock here at the end that should flip down, but of course it doesn't on the figure. And you've got a decent sculpt. It has 3 barrels on the end, which is definitely kind of interesting. So there's some new stuff going on there. A little bit of paint. It's got that pearlized sheen on it as well. I kind of wish this guy had something a little more imposing. He doesn't really look very menacing with this gun, but if that's what he uses in the movie, then that's what he uses in the movie. Of course, it is new stuff all around, so at the very least, it gives us a little bit of a change up from your standard First Order blaster rifle. So overall, this is an interesting one for me because, well, ultimately, when it comes down to it, I'm not a huge fan of this helmet design yet. That doesn't mean it's a bad figure, though. It's certainly fine from a toy perspective. I just don't know that I really care about the way this head looks, and it kind of throws off my enjoyment of the Trooper in general when the helmet isn't really very cool to me. Otherwise, though, he certainly moves really well. He's got all that updated articulation that we've craved for a long time when it comes to Hasbro Troopers. I love the pearlized look on this guy, even though I'm not so sure it's worth $5. And the rest of the paint is really crisp and clean. The sculpt is very, very familiar while still having a number of new things. And, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a Trooper with a jetpack. He is different enough that you'll probably have a lot of fun with this guy, even if, like me, you aren't exactly sold on every aspect of this Trooper. So that's going to do it for this look at the Star Wars Black Series Walmart exclusive carbonized Jet Trooper. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.